everyone, this is Helloangel.design. Today I am going to show you how to make this beautiful dress with a cap sleeve and a button at the side of the dress instead of at the center of the front of the dress. Please support us by subscribing and thumbs up on our video. Comment down below if you have any question. This dress that we are going to make today is for 3 to 4 years old child. Grab your A-line pattern paper and we are going to adjust our A-line pattern paper, and also I'm going to show you how to make cap sleeve. I want to also use this opportunity to ask you guys to subscribe to my other YouTube channel, how to make handmade soap. The YouTube channel name is Edo.beauty soap. I will also put the link on the description box below so that you guys can also subscribe to that YouTube and know how to make handmade soap for your kids and loved ones. There is nothing like you're using a natural soap to take your shower, and your kids can also use that to take shower. It is very important, not this chemical that they gave us to use to take shower. It damages our skin. And let's get started. First thing that you have to do, you're going to grab your A-line pattern paper. If you don't know how to make A-line pattern paper, I'll put the link on the description box below so that you can go and watch the video on how to make a basic A-line pattern paper. This is my front A-line pattern paper and this is my back, and I've also shown how to make a basic sleeve. We are going to adjust the sleeve. So when you grab your A-line pattern paper, or when you make your A-line pattern paper, make sure you make full A-line pattern paper. So this is my front pattern paper. What I'm going to do, I'm going to adjust a little bit from the neckline. I will place my measuring tape like this. I'm going to measure down 1 centimeter. So I'm going to come to the shoulder. I'm going to take a measurement of 0.5 centimeter. And I'm going to just go ahead and cover the neckline. So I will first place my ruler like this and make here like straight a little bit, and then take my armhole curve and I will curve it out. I have curved it out. The next thing that you have to do, you take your scissors, you cut it out. I have cut it out. This is how it is right now. The next thing that you have to do, you open your pattern paper, and this is my center crease for the pattern paper. You take your measuring tape, place it at the center crease. You can see the center crease of the front pattern paper. Measure down 1.25 inch or 3.2 centimeter. You come down to the bottom, you do the same thing. Measure down 1.25 inch or 3.2 centimeter. So what you are going to do, you're going to connect the front to the bottom that you measure. So you take your ruler, you just go ahead and connect it down. I have connected down. The next thing that you have to do, you take your scissors, you go ahead and cut it out. So I have adjust my front pattern paper. So this is how it is. I will show you how to place your pattern paper on your fabric and cut it out. So we are going to put the front pattern paper aside. Pick your back pattern paper. We are only adjusting the neckline for the back pattern paper. So what you are going to do, you place your measuring tape at the back pattern paper. I'm going to take a measurement of 0.5 centimeter, and then for the shoulder you repeat the same process, 0.5 centimeter. You take your armhole curve and connect it down. Once you have connected the neckline together, you take your scissors, you just cut it out. The next thing that you have to do, you grab your sleeve pattern paper. It's for 3 to 4 years old child. This is the front and this is the back. So you can see that my paper already unfolds so that I have a crease. If you can do that, you can just take your ruler and your pencil and you just trace it down. You know that this is your center crease. So I will place my pattern paper like this and I will pin them all around. I have pinned them together. The next thing that you have to do, you are going to trace your sleeve pattern on a different paper. So just go ahead and trace it all around. So from here to here, I'm going to take a measurement of 2.5 centimeter or 1 inch. and I will do the same thing on this side, 2.5 centimeter or 1 inch. So what I'm going to do, I am going to remove my pattern paper. Once you have removed your pattern paper, place your ruler and connect it together. The next thing that you have to do, you're going to connect this point to this point. So I will place my ruler like this. I will connect it together. The next thing that I'm going to do, I am going to place my measuring tape like this from the head of the cap sleeve. I'm taking a measurement of 8 centimeter, or you can take a measurement of 3.25 inch. And I will connect it together. Once you have connected together, the next thing that you have to do, I will place my measuring tape like this from this center of the sleeve. I'm going to take a measurement of 1 centimeter. So the 1 centimeter is just right here. So what you are going to do, you pick your armhole curve. You're going to curve from this middle line to this point right here. So you just go ahead and curve it out. You curve it out like that, and then you come to this side, you repeat the same process. You place your armhole curve. You're going to curve from this center crease to this point. Once you have done that, take your scissors, cut it out. The next thing that you have to do once you have cut it out, I just take a different paper. This is my center crease, and I also cross it out on this side so that I know that I have a straight line. So what you are going to do, you take your scissors, you cut it out. So you're cutting your sleeve. So what I'm going to do, I will take my measuring tape. I will place it like this. I will measure down 3 centimeters. I will also come down to the bottom like this. I will measure down 3 centimeters. I'm going to join that together. Once you have joined the line together, you pick your sleeve. I will just take my glue, put it like this. You pick your sleeve, you place it like this. And then you come down to this other side. You also measure down 3 centimeters. And I will take my glue, just put it like this, and pick my sleeve, place it like this. The next thing that you have to do, you pick your measuring tape, place it at the sleeve like this. I have 9 centimeters right here. So I will place my measuring tape, and I will also measure down right here 9 centimeters or 3.5 inch. So I'm going to curve it out on this side and curve it on this other side. So I have curved it out. This is how it is. If you want to raise the top edge, you can also raise it to 1 centimeter. This is where we curve it out. You can place your measuring tape like this. This is 1 centimeter. You can curve it from here down and curve it from here to the other side. So I have curved it out. This is how it is. So what I'm going to do, I will take my scissors and cut it out. I have cut out my cap sleeve. This is how it is, and we are going to be pinning our pattern paper and the cap sleeve on our fabric. So I'm using this African wax print. You can use any print of your choice. When you are pinning your back pattern paper, make sure that you put it on fold. When you are pinning your front pattern paper, it's not going to be on fold. You are going to be cutting 2 pieces. So I will pin my pattern paper on my fabric, and I will show you how my look before I cut it out. I have pinned my pattern paper on my fabric, the front pattern paper. So from this side, I add 3 centimeters. We are going to attach a buttonhole on this dressmaking. From this other side, I add 3 centimeters. You know that when you fold it, you're going to lap it on each other. Make sure that you add your seam allowance. From the neckline, shoulder, armhole sizing, I add 1 centimeter. From this other side, neckline, shoulder, armhole sizing, I add 1 centimeter. Once you have added all your seam allowance on your pattern paper, you take your scissors and cut it out. So first thing that you have to do, you open your back fabric. This is the front of my back fabric, and you pick your front fabric. So make sure that both front fabric are facing each other, and you pick this other side. Both front fabric are facing each other. You are going to pin the both shoulder seam together. Once you have done that, take it to your sewing machine, stitch the shoulder seam with 1 centimeter seam allowance, and then you take your sleeve, put the both front fabric together. Go ahead and top stitch at the bottom edge, not at the top edge of the sleeve. You top stitch at the bottom edge. You pick the other pieces, put the both front fabric together, top stitch at the bottom edge. Once you have done stitching, take it to an ironing board. You can give it a good press. I have stitched the shoulder seam of my dress, and I have also stitched the cap sleeve. The next thing that we have to do, we are going to attach it on the armhole of the dress. So what you're going to do, you open your dress like this. Once you open your dress like this is the armhole of our dress. You pick your measuring tape, place it like this. You're going to take a measurement of 1/2 centimeter or 1.75 inch. So you place it like that, and then you take your marker and you just mark that. You come to this other side, you repeat the same process. Your measuring tape 1/2 centimeter or 1.75 inch, and you repeat the same process with the other side of the armhole. So what you are going to do, you pick your sleeve, fold it into two like this. Take your scissors, give it a little cut. This is my cut right here. Put it on the shoulder seam. So you will pick your sleeve, place it like this, and pin that in place. This is what you are going to gather, and then you come down to this other side. You repeat the same process, pin it in place. This is what you are going to gather. So you pick your thread, you just start pulling your gather. I have pinned my both cap sleeve at the armhole of the dressmaking. The next thing that you have to do, take it to your sewing machine, stitch the both sleeve together. When you are stitching, make sure that it's not up to 1 centimeter. Once you have done stitching, remove your gather stitch thread. Once you have stitched your sleeve together, then you take your bias binding, you place it at the front of your dressmaking. You're going to use bias binding to bind the both armhole. Once you have used your bias binding to bind the armhole, before you use your bias binding to bind the neckline, what you are going to do, you take your dress to your ironing board. You first fold inside 1 centimeter. From here to here is 1 centimeter, and then you fold it again 2 centimeter. Take it to your sewing machine. You are first going to top stitch the bracket in place, and you come to this other side. You repeat the same process. You are going to top stitch it all the way down. Once you have done stitching, then you can now place your bias binding at the front of the neckline. Bind the neckline and fold it again, and use it to cover the raw edges of the neckline. So I will take mine to my sewing machine right now and stitch them together. I have used my bias binding to bind the neckline, and I've also done the same thing with the armhole. You can see how it is inside once you use your bias binding to bind the armhole and the neckline. And I've also top stitched my bracket together all the way down. The next thing that we have to do, we are going to put the side seam of the dress together. Go ahead and pin the side seam of your dress together. I have pinned the both side seam together. The next thing that I am going to do, I will take it to my sewing machine and top stitch the side seam with 1 centimeter seam allowance. Depends on the seam allowance that you add on your fabric. Once you have done that, you also hem your bottom edge. Fold inside 1 centimeter, fold it again and top stitch. Depends on the seam allowance that you add on your bottom edge. You use it to hem your dress. I have stitched the side seam of my dress, and I've also hemmed my dress, and I use that opportunity to stitch my buttonholes and also stitch my button on the dress. This is how it is once you have done that. On the neckline, I just stitch this snap right here. This is the final look of my dress. It's a beautiful dress to make and a step-by-step tutorial, and with a beautiful cap sleeve. Thank you all so much for watching. Remember to subscribe, thumbs up on our video if it has helped you in any way. Comment down below if you have any questions, and you all should have a blessed day. Bye.